Welcome to Lori's Crafting Place.blogspot.com, and I've been making a lot of cards, and I found one on Jackie Bolhuis' videos, and her daughter actually did the card. Her name is Jesi, and I think they work together, and so it was a great video on some coffee cards, and so I thought I would give them a try. And so let's get started. I'm going to show you the things I used. I don't have the things that she had, the papers or the sets that she had, but I do have some. So let's get started. Let's just get this turned down here. Now we can see what we're doing. Alrighty, I have things all over my table, as you can see. And this was a piece of scratch paper. Let's get that out of the way. I don't need that right now. So the stamp set that I'm using is one that I got from the Fun Stampers Journey quite a long time ago. And it's called Coffee Helps. And I like this one. I like how it comes, and then they fit back into this little mold here. And so I'm going to be using this coffee cup, and we're going to fussy cut it out, because I don't have any dies for these, and I'm going to use this saying, "You got this, coffee." And I thought that was cute. So I do have these dies. They're called Coffee First die set, and so I'm going to probably make some stuff out of these. Let me turn you this way a little more. Also, I use, let's start with the adhesives. This is my go-to. It's Art Glitter Designer Clear Glue. It dries clear, and it's permanent. And I struggled for years trying to find a good adhesive, and I really like this. So that's the one I use, and I put it in these little bottles. So I really like that. I also use some tear tape that I just get from Temu, and it sticks really well, and it's cheap. You can get a whole bunch of them for a really reasonable price. And I used this punch, a 1 3/4 inch punch. It was a Stampin' Up punch. And then I had these circle dies. I don't remember where I got them, but I used it to cut out this circle here. And then the Stampin' Up punch I used to cut that circle out, which is going to go on top of this one. Then I just cut this, let's see, is that everything? Oh, no, I'll get to that in a minute. And then I just cut this out and made it look like that. Didn't do anything fancy with it. And this is 3/4 by 2 3/8. And you also need a strip of this white cardstock, which is 3/4 by 5, and we're going to stamp on that one. And then a piece of this paper here that came in a sheet of this. I've had this forever. I'm thinking I got this at Tuesday Morning a long time ago, and it has all these papers in it. And so I picked the one out of here that I liked, that kind of went with the one that she used, and it was like this one here. And I just really like these papers. Oh yeah, those butterflies are cool. I thought those were pretty neat. Anyway, so we got that. And let's see what else. So these are the ones I stamped. I used a Stampin' Up marker, and I didn't like how that came out. It came out really dark. So we're gonna stamp another one, and then I'm gonna color it with this Peruvian blue, which is a watercolor pencil. So we'll be stamping that on there, but I did want to show you that. I just didn't like how it turned out. So
And then also you need a piece to layer on the inside, which is 2 7/8 by 4 3/8, and we're going to stamp some coffee beans on there. And then this is our card base, and our card base was a 5 by 7, and it was scored at 3 1/4. 3, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 3 1/4. Let me see, I wrote it somewhere. I think I wrote it on this card, and I covered it up. Let's see. That's not standing up there. So I'm pretty sure that was 3 1/4, but let me just get out my ruler and we'll measure it and we'll see. 3 1/2. It's 3 1/2. So be sure you score it at 3 1/2 so it folds right in half. And I guess I should show you the card we're going to make. So this is the coffee card we're going to make. We're going to stamp those coffee beans on there. We're going to color it. And then on the inside, I just put that white piece with some coffee beans in there and just left it blank. So that's the card we're going to make. So let's get started. I think the first thing, let's do the stamping and get it done. So let's take the coffee beans and we'll stamp them. I'm trying to just move things out of the way here. And the ink I used is an old retired one from Stampin' Up called Chocolate Chip. I wish they hadn't gotten rid of this. I really liked Chocolate Chip, that color. But it's perfect color for these. I guess you could use early espresso too, but I like this one. And this is our little coffee bean we're gonna stamp on here. So we just ink it up, and then we're just gonna go stamp. I think I can get 8 on here. And there's 3. And I'm just stamping or inking it up every time. And I'm not stamping off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I'm gonna get 7 on here. This time I moved them farther apart. Okay, and I'm just gonna stick that over here. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not done yet. I want to do the coffee beans on here. So let me not get ahead of myself here. And I'm just randomly stamping these on here wherever I want to stamp them. Okay, now we can get rid of that one. And that will go on the inside of our card. And let's see, we need to stamp, and I'm going to use, let's see, I'll set that there. I'm going to use Memento Tuxedo Black. That's my black I have. I have other blacks too. I have a Stays On Jet Black, which is good if you're going to be using watercolor and stuff, because it's not going to run. It takes a bit to dry. And then I've got some of these pigment Versacolor black. So I'm trying to get all my blacks out because I ran out of the Stampin' Up black that I really loved, and they don't sell it anymore. So let's just ink up this cup. Here's the cup. We're going to ink this up, and we're going to stamp it on here. I have another one here. And I didn't want the saucers on there because it takes up too much room. It would just be too much on there. So we're going to color these with this Prussian blue. So I'm going to do that. I didn't pre-color them because I thought I'd just do it while we're online here. Or we're not actually live, but anyways, so you don't have to be perfect in your coloring. And then, like I said, this is a watercolor pencil, so if you wanted to even watercolor this, you could, but it doesn't take that long.
And since we're cutting it out, if you go out of the lines, it isn't going to show. So, anyways, just get this going here. I think it looks pretty good. So, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut it down a little bit so I don't have so much to cut around. Get rid of that piece. Then just take and fussy cut this. And I'm leaving a little bit of white around it, because when you cut things out with dies, they end up leaving a little white border around it. Now down here there's a shadow, so I'm not going to get the white border, but that's okay. We'll just keep coming around till we get this all cut out. And it doesn't take very long to cut it out. Okay, so there's one, and we'll do another one here. We'll cut that out. Hopefully you can see it. Hopefully I don't get out of the camera. Sometimes I just move the paper, and sometimes I move the scissors. Depends. Okay, and then what I did, oops, I don't like that part there. Okay, then what I did was I took my finger blade here. I love this finger blade. And I cut this little white part out of here. So I'm going to use my mat, and I'm just kind of, I don't know if you'll be able to see it unless I put this on top. And then I just kind of cut around this, trying to get that out, and just move the cup. And hopefully I don't get it too close to the edge here. Now let's see, we'll turn it over and see. Yeah, you can see I cut that little hole. And so I'm going to stick a hole in there, and then I'm going to put my scissors in that hole I just made and try to get this out. See how it does a really good job, that finger blade. And then if there's some parts that I didn't quite get, I just use my little snips and snip it out, and there we have it. Okay, so that's one of them. Well, let's do the other one. And if you don't have a finger blade, you can just poke your scissors down in it. Whoa, just don't cut the handle off. And put your scissors down in there and carefully cut it out. Let's see if I went all the way around. Nope, sometimes I miss some of it. Come around here. Okay, and then I use these just to kind of make sure that I cut it. And we'll put that away. Get my little scissors out here. Stick that in that hole and kind of push it, and look at that, I did a pretty good job on that one. Cut that one right out. Didn't even have to use the scissors. And so there we go. Okay, so we got our pieces, all our pieces. So I'm just gonna set it here. I'm gonna use my bone folder to kind of get this to lay down better. And then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this piece and you use whatever you have. You don't have to use the same exact stuff that I'm using. I'm going to use my paper piercing tool. I like this thing. And get this tape off, double-sided tape off of here. So I did attach this with double-sided tape. I am going to use different things. I use a lot of this double-sided tape. I use a lot of my liquid glue, and then I use a lot of this double-sided tape because that's what I usually have. And like I said, I'm not a demonstrator of any place, so I can get my stuff on Temu, and I get this tape really reasonable. So now we're going to stick this, and I'm going to leave just a teeny border over here on the left hand side, just a little border. And if there's any hanging over, you can always just use your scissors and trim that off. There. And that was a piece of that double-sided tape. And then we're going to take our, now if you had any ribbon that had coffee beans on it, or whatever you want, you could use that and then put that on there. But I thought, I'm going to just use some cardstock. And I didn't fold mine over the edges like Jessie did on hers. So I just went from edge to edge, and we're going to cover this up and just let it come over here just a little bit. So right about there, I think we'll do it. That's what we've got so far. And then the next thing I put on was this, and I didn't pop this up. So you could pop it up if you want with your dimensionals, and I have these mini dots, dimensionals, which I get from Temu, and I get them pretty cheap, and they work well. I don't think they're as thick as Stampin' Up's, which are a very good quality dimensional. And I'm just going to stick this right here. Yeah, one thing about your liquid glue I like too is it gives you some wiggle room to be able to line things up. Okay, and then the next thing I think I want to put on here is, let's get our black circle. I'm going to take the white circle, and I'm going to put some glue on it. And you really don't need a lot of glue. You can see how much glue I've put on there. But this will give you some wiggle room on this too, in case you don't have it, like if you don't have it too. And I think that's pretty good. I'll stick that on there. And then one of the cups I'm going to glue down. So we'll put some more glue over here on this side. That's just about all the glue I put. None on the handle, because my handle's going to hang over a little bit. So I think I'll stick that right there. And now on this cup, I am going to use dimensionals. So I'm going to put one down here and one up here, and I'll show you up close in a minute. So that's where I put my dimensionals, and then we'll just peel those off. But like I said, I don't think they're as thick as the Stampin' Up ones. You can see that. But they work. They work all right. And then we're going to put this on here. And then I didn't pop this up either. You could pop it up. This one I didn't, but I don't know. Let's pop it up and see what happens. So I'll put several on here. And we'll put one here, and we'll put one over here in the middle. So I have 5 on here. Oops. Sometimes I grab the dimensional. Okay, well, we're gonna try popping it up and see what it does for it. I don't know, maybe you can see the difference. And I like it popped up. I like things, yeah, popped up. Okay, I think I'm done with that. Let's take this inner piece, which was 2 7/8 by 4 3/8. We're gonna put some glue on it. And that's about how much glue I put on there. And then I'm gonna open this up and stick it in here. And there we go. And you can also use your bone folder to kind of smooth things out. Make sure it grabs. And there's our card. And it's a little note card, so it is smaller than a regular card, which would be 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, I believe. So it's a smaller, and I just love these. I love these little note cards. They're quick, they're easy, they're simple, and so I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that you give it a try. It was a very easy, quick card, very simple, and I just hope you do give it a try. And if you like this video, click the like button. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And I thank you for my subscribers that are already on here and that watch me faithfully. And until next time, happy creating. Bye-bye.